What is up, everybody? Dr. Debunking here, world famous bariatric surgeon. I'm going to talk about, can you spread the virus if you've been vaccinated? Why do you need to wear a mask? I'm going to give you the latest updates on the vaccines. What do we know? What do we need to be careful about? So if you are watching this, do me a favor, hit the share button. Let's get a lot of people in here, folks. We should have 500 people on all of my different platforms. I'd be amazed balls. Thank you very much. I said balls. Thank you very much. All right, so we're going to get down to some of the science. I'll talk about some of the conspiracies also. It's just like I want to bang my head against the wall, some of these idiotic conspiracies. If you are watching, tell me where you're watching from and if you have been vaccinated or not. All right. Have you been vaccinated? Will you get vaccinated? Good morning. Where are you watching from? Emily, Aaron, Susan. Good morning. Mammy from, I've been to Somerset. I know where that is. What's up, Aisha? You just hang around, wait for me, Aisha, to come on live? What? June Corrigan. Good morning. So we have to convince these people that people are getting vaccinated and they're not turning into monkeys. Heidi, have you grown your monkey tail? Is your DNA irreversibly damaged, Rosie? Did you grow a second head, right? Kansas is in the house. Los Angeles, Bo is vaccinated. Canada is vaccinated. See, we are lucky here in the United States. We have excess amounts of vaccines. There are countries like Canada, India that really want the vaccine, need the vaccine, and they can't get it because we're being selfish. Miami's vaccinated. Anybody grow an extra ear? I'm just curious to know. Buck says no to the vaccine. That's all right, Buck, but you can get it later. Valerie's vaccinated. See, I think what you're going to see is like Emily here had my shot. See, I think the vast majority of people will end up getting vaccinated. I have hope that everybody is going to, we'll get to that 80-85% vaccination for herd immunity. And then we're going to end up getting boosters because of some variants or maybe what's sneaky happening with the J&J. I'll talk about that here in a second. But I think there are fewer deniers than you think. The difference, the problem is they just want a lot of attention, you know? And I promise you it is, because every argument, I have yet to hear a good argument about why not to be vaccinated. It makes no sense. Does not change your DNA. 10,000 people have not died from this. The side effects are not worse than getting COVID. I mean, it's all the stuff that is just bizarre to me that people say. All right, devil horns, that's it, baby. Yeah. I was down for about 24 hours, but it wasn't terrible. I just kind of slept it off and I felt good. Yeah, a long hauler should be vaccinated, quite honestly. That's a good question. We'll talk about that too, because studies seem to show that vaccination really helps long hauler syndrome. So get vaccinated for sure. See, all these people, now you could sit there and say, well, Dr. V, these are your following. They want to hear you because you believe in vaccination and I get vaccinated. And so they're going to get vaccinated. So it's a selection bias. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe, maybe not. Because if you think about it, there's a lot of ugly people on my fan page who just keep saying stupid shit. Katrina, that is a smart thing to do. I will also be masking until the end of the year. Getting your second, Geraldine, the second dose is sometimes a whopper. So be careful. Yep, totally right. Sick for 3 days. I was lucky. I was sick for about 24 hours. And I was pretty good. The first dose with the Moderna, I just had a little arm soreness, and honestly, about 1 hour where I felt like I was getting slightly chilled, but I was over it after that first dose. The second dose took me down for about 24 hours. Yeah, the rash is pretty common, but it will go away. You'll be okay. All right, masking is definitely the way to go. Oh, and I want to talk about this, which is, you know, maybe I'll do another video about, well, I need to do a lot of videos, but about people just getting one dose. One dose is not working, guys. Don't stop. Don't stop with just one dose, Claire. You got to get both doses. And the J&J, which is a single dose vaccination, I think they're going to look at it. I think you're going to end up having a second dose, a booster dose. Yeah, Darcy, that's happened to me too. You know, like when you get the flu where your skin's all like creepy and you just don't want anything to touch you. And if the wind blows, it feels bad. I had that. So 24-hour sickness for me too. Okay, so I'm going to do my push-ups for you guys. Why push-ups? Because Dr. Vong loves to garden, and I hate push-ups. I hate exercising. I'm the skinny, scrawny Asian, but I got to get in a little bit better shape. I'm 48 and a half. I can't believe that. And so I got to maintain this scrawny body. So I started with one push-up, and now I'm up to 32. So 32, and I've been doing push-ups every day for about 2 months, believe it or not. And I'm starting to max out. I think I could probably max at 40, but I want to get to 100 a day. So what do I need to do? Do I need to break it up? Do I need to do 50 and 50? Do I need to do 25, 25, 25, 25, 33, 33? So we'll see. And I touched my nose because I have allergies for those. So if you guys want to see the skinny, scrawny Asian do the push-ups, hit the share button for me real quick. All right, we're going to count me off real quick. Let's do this. This is my new house, by the way. Oh, for those who've been following me a long time, this is my new house. Let's get this chair out of the way here. I know, I'm into mid-century modern. Okay, let's roll. 32 push-ups. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 31, 32. Woo, baby. All right. Feeling all right? I'm feeling all right. A little winded. I did stop. I think I kept the same pace. Anyone notice? Did I stop? Kind of kept the same pace, right? 32, baby. All right. Thank you. Yep, getting there. You know, it's like I teach people in my tribe is like what you have to do is continually do it every day. It seems harder. I've been increasing by 2 every week. I might need to increase by 1. Woo, I tell you what. Same pace. Geraldine, what's up, girl? You think I slowed? I don't know. I thought I was doing pretty good. All right, so let's get started. This is going to be a short one, believe it or not. Let me drink my water. What are we talking about today? The latest and greatest about oh, Esteban. Thank you, bud. Appreciate that. No worries. So I got more. If anybody wants more test kits, check your antibodies, see if your vaccine really worked. But all right. So yeah, it's the key. What am I talking about today? All right, let's talk about. Thank you for hitting share real quick. We'll get started. Woo! Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Duck Vong, world famous bariatric surgeon. Today, I want to talk about what we know about the vaccines, the latest and the greatest news. Can you pass on the virus if you have the vaccines? I want to talk briefly about other conspiracies, etc. What is the impetus for this talk? You know, last week in the United States, the CDC backtracked, or I shouldn't say backtracked, reversed, changed its guidance on masking. And so they said, if you are fully vaccinated, you can go without the mask indoors. And, but, you know, you have to wear a mask on public transportation and whatever local guidance gives you. If your city or your county says you have to keep wearing a mask, you need to keep wearing a mask. If a business wants you to wear a mask, you need to comply. But other than that, you can go without a mask indoors if you've been fully vaccinated. And I said, you know what? I disagree with that because, and the primary reason why is because we are only at 47%. I think 47% has 1 dose of the vaccine, and about 37% or so have had are fully vaccinated. So That's not no, that's if you give people the benefit of the doubt, that's 1 and 2. So you're below 50% that of people vaccinated. So if you gather in a restaurant without a mask, or church or a store or wherever, like Target dropped their mask mandate, like 1 and 2 people are not going to be vaccinated. And that's just crazy to me, because that's the whole reason why we did the lockdown shutdown last year. Now, I do believe that they did some of that because of political pressures, etc. And they say no. I wouldn't know, but what else are they going to say? Of course, they're going to say they didn't do it because of political pressure. But what I want to do is pass on some of the science for you, okay? Fully. And this was the big question. So I'll lead it with number 1. This was a big question about being vaccinated or not being vaccinated. And this point is important. So the numbers are still coming in. A couple of studies have come out, and it seems to show that people who are fully vaccinated do not appear to spread the disease. Now, the people who are non-maskers or anti-vaxxers, whatever you want to call them, they back in like February or whatever, they say, well, why should I get the vaccine if you could still spread the disease? You still need to wear the mask, yada yada yada. And my point was, we don't know. It's called science. You have to wait for the numbers to come in. Like, I don't know what you want. Like this is a novel coronavirus. This is a new virus. This is a new once in a lifetime pandemic. Like, what the fuck's your problem? Like, chill out, wait for the numbers. So the early numbers are coming in, and watch this. Some asshole is going to say, see, he said appears to not spread the disease. Like, tell me, show me when it's proven. Like, that's not how science fucking works, okay? Like, you collect data, you analyze the data, you try to compare it against controls. Someone needs to repeat the study, repeat the analysis, right? So maybe the paper comes out of Italy that it doesn't. Maybe a little paper from the Seychelles says it doesn't help, or they do spread it. Another paper, and then you just kind of combine the data and look at it. I don't understand these people that think like, I got him. Like, oh, see, he said it only appears to work. Dude, shut up. This is so tiresome. It is so tiring, okay? This is how science works. But the newest data studies, a couple of studies that have come out the last few weeks, suggest that if you are fully vaccinated, you do not seem to spread the disease. And if you do, the chances are very, very low. Okay. And this takes me to number 2. Why does this make sense? If you think about it, I kind of probably thought you wouldn't, because, if you think about all the histories of vaccinations, that's how you stop chickenpox outbreaks or measles outbreaks, is to make sure kids are vaccinated, right? And then it doesn't seem to spread or go anywhere. Well, if you think about it logically, well, that makes sense, right? But number 2 will clear it up. And so why do we think that vaccinated people do not spread the disease? It's number 2. And I've talked about this before, and this was like, during the pandemic, people were like, oh, that's a fancy word. But basically, it's a decreased viral load. I've been doing a Facebook Live every single day in May to explain coronavirus. And I'm going to start transitioning from the vaccines and COVID and stuff like that to the economic impact that this pandemic is having that people aren't really talking about. Like this, we are in major bubbles. Stock market's a bubble, Bitcoin's a bubble, housing's a bubble. You can talk about, the lumber prices and all sorts of stuff, but we're in massive bubbles. And trust me, this is everybody's fucking fault. So I knew he was a liberal. Like, no, I'm not a liberal. I knew he was a Republican. I'm definitely not a Republican. Like, I'm not a Trump supporter, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm going to start transitioning to the money stuff once we kind of get a hold on this pandemic things. But it's all tied together, okay? Back to number 2, the decreased viral load, right? It makes sense. And I've done videos on this the last few days about how the vaccines, the vaccination primes your immune system, right? To recognize this bad actor called SARS-CoV-2, like a bouncer recognizes a guy who starts fights at the bar, keeps him out of the bar, right? So vaccination primes your immune system to see, to capture, to recognize SARS-CoV-2 when it lands on your bodies. And so people still think they're being clever and they're like, see, it doesn't stop you from catching it. Well, duh, the only thing that would stop you from catching it is to like encase yourself in a like a glass, like the boy in the bubble syndrome, like encase yourself so that nothing can get through to you. And that's the only way, right? And oh, by the way, the boy in the bubble, you know, that was a condition where he had no immune system, so anything could make him sick. Like he had, you know, they have no immune system, and so even when you hand him food and stuff, you have to use gloves and all sorts of stuff to try not to pass on any germs. And that's exactly kind of what I mean. I didn't mean to talk about that, but that makes total sense. You know, this is a new coronavirus. That's what novel coronavirus means. So nobody has immunity to it. Now you can have a stronger or weaker immune system and have a better or worse chance of surviving, you know, catching SARS-CoV-2 and what level, like how bad of a case of COVID, which is a disease, do you end up getting? But it makes sense that now that if you've been vaccinated, your immune system recognizes the SARS-CoV-2 virus, and therefore you never build up to a significant level of viral load, like not enough. So you got to imagine, I've got, because this is a respiratory illness, right? So you have SARS-CoV-2 in your face, your ugly mug, you know, your crack rotted teeth, you know, and here in your lungs, and you're singing at your choir, or you're praising Jesus, or you're cheering on your favorite UFC fighter or your favorite baseball team, and you're yelling, or you're in a bar, right? Because you're macking with that 10, you think she's a dime piece, and you're real up close to them, or you're celebrating your best girlfriend's birthday because, you know, God forbid you wait a few more months and celebrate it later, but you're at the bar, you're in Vegas, like celebrating your girlfriend's birthday. So, and it's inside of you, and you cough, sneeze, you know, it's allergies, and it's coronavirus, and how much comes out depends on how much viral load you have that leads to the viral shedding, right? So if you've been vaccinated, your immune system keeps your viral load lower. So that leads to number 3, lower and this is ultimately what we're after right here, right? So if you have a lower viral load, that means lower viral shedding. And just like any other disease process, you have to catch a certain amount of that virus or bacteria or whatever it is to create a disease process. Even cancer, quite honestly. Like if you have everybody living right now, if you're watching this right now, you have a cancer cell inside of you somewhere. It's just undetectable, and your immune system can keep it in check for a while, or change the course, or make it go into a polyp, whatever cancer type it is. But you have cancer cells in you, just like you have, you know, you have more bacterial DNA in you than human DNA. So the other thing that deniers like, well, I'm not going to take this vaccine, it's going to change my DNA. Well, first of all, motherfucker, it's not going to change your DNA, because that's not how that works. And secondly, you're more bacterial DNA than you are human DNA. We have so much bacteria inside our GI gut. Yeah, we try to take antibiotics and things like that, and we eat junk food and processed foods and chemicals. We drink Coca-Cola. We create this acidic environment that kills off all of this beneficial bacteria inside of our body. And yet somehow we think that, like, we make crazy assertions that taking this vaccine, which is amazing that we can do it, that we even have it, to save our lives. So ultimately, if you think about it, if you've been fully vaccinated and you had an immune response, that means you'll have a lower viral load, which will lead to lower viral shedding, which equals less chance of spreading. So I'll do that as number 4. Therefore, less chance of spreading the virus, right? Which is what the studies are starting to show. Now, I said less chance of spreading, not no chance of spreading. I mean, there's always a possibility of anything. That's called science. That's like why you keep your mind open to studies and experiments to see what really works. But you've drastically reduced your chance of spreading the virus. So taking all these data, the CDC, and I think under a little bit of pressure, started to pull back on their mask requirements, which I think is a mistake because, as we know, we don't have enough vaccination yet. We're not anywhere near the level. I mean, we're at about 37% fully vaccinated in America. Other countries like Canada are lagging way behind. What are you guys up in Canada? 10% maybe? Japan, that's about to host the Summer Olympics here in about 3 months. Japan is not 2% vaccinated. 2% vaccinated, right? And I would just call out some stupid shit like this, right? So my body, my choice. Well, you know what? That's selfish. That's selfish. So what do you so what about abortions? Abortion rights advocates would say, well, it's a woman's body, it's her choice. But we know from studies, and I don't care how you feel either way about the abortion issue. We know that about, depending on where you live, half of the people believe that you don't have the right to abort. Well, I thought it was my body, my choice. How about my body, my choice? How about drinking and driving? Hey, it's my body, my choice. Oh, but you could wreck the car and hurt others. How is that different from COVID? How is that different from a fucking global pandemic? Like the logic escapes me. So you don't sound smart. I'm going to tell you, you don't sound smart by saying my body, my choice, because the logic isn't there if you work through it. We wear seatbelts. Like, government can't tell me what to do. They can tell you to wear your seatbelt. I need to know the long-term effects. Well, the long-term effects of smoking, and people still smoke. These aren't really good reasons. It's not a good reason, right? All of these reasons. It's not experimental. It's been fully studied. It wasn't rushed. The technology has been around for about 12 years. The study of genomics and DNA goes back to Watson and Crick, days. So these arguments, if you went up against a philosopher or a legal ethicist, like a lot of these arguments just like is really nonsensical. And it goes both ways, right? Like, I'm not taking anything that's not FDA approved. First of all, it's FDA approved. But you got to also remember the FDA approved thalidomide, the FDA approved fentanyl with, narcotics. Don't even get me started on that sort of stuff. And so that's another conversation where you're like, okay, whatever, Guidance is guidance. And at the end of the day, you don't have to do anything, I guess, because as long as, unless there's a law against it. But you have to admit, like, if you hold certain beliefs, you're going to harm people. Okay, so if you choose to drink and drive, you might get home one night. You might get home most nights. But when something happens and you have a wreck, don't get upset. Don't blame anybody but yourself. And then if you have a wreck that, God forbid, kills other people, then you're going to have to, pay the price there. And that's between you and your God, trust me, and the legal system. Now, we're not at that point now. I will tell you that in, where was that? In Israel or somewhere, somebody went to work I think it was Israel. He went to work when he was supposed to stay home. Was having symptoms. He got tested for COVID. His results were pending, and he was supposed to stay home until he got the results. And came to work, started coughing on people, and started saying, "I'm going to give all of y'all COVID. You guys are all going to die from COVID." Well, that guy got arrested. So there will be ramifications for how we think. Okay, and I will tell you, whether you like it or not, believe it or not, certain institutions, there's roughly about 200 universities and colleges roughly in America that are going to require people to be vaccinated before they go back to campus. That includes not only students, but the staff, the housekeeping, maintenance people, assistants, secretaries. They're requiring everybody to get vaccinated before they come back on campus or go somewhere else. I am leaving for Costa Rica, and I had to show proof of vaccination. So I'm 2 weeks post my second dose. I tested myself yesterday using my rapid test, shows I have antibodies, very strong antibodies. And this is just the world we live in. And you might say, well, that's an infringement on my rights. Again, that does not make sense, right? It's not a constitutional thing. There's really, at the end of the day, when you break it down, it sounds a lot like you just can't tell me what to do. Which, I have a 4-year-old child who's about to be 5-year-old daughter, and she has moments where she doesn't want to take a nap. And I have to say, no, you need to take a nap. And I know you don't want to do it now, and it's only for an hour or 2 hours. But when you wake up, you're going to feel much better. If you don't take a nap, you're grumpy. Remember, you get grumpy. I don't want to take a nap. I don't want to. Okay. And we figure it out. We take a nap, and then we wake up and it's all better. Right. So I will tell you, most of the arguments are just temper tantrums. You might not like that. You might be like, Dr. V, how dare you lump us all together? I'm smart. I'm this, I'm that. Okay, take your fucking vaccine then. Because at the end of the day, your hero, your champion, the Trumpster himself, was vaccinated. The Trumpster himself, former President Trump, Mr. Warp Speed himself, everybody who says this was rushed, blame that. If you think it was rushed, talk to the previous administration who called it Operation Warp Speed and then sneakily got vaccinated without announcing it. So and I don't point that out because I'm not political. And some people are like, you say you're not political, but you keep saying it. Well, I'm just pointing it out. You could exchange the name for whatever you want and whatever color you want. This is just the facts. I'm just explaining you the facts, and I'm just explaining the logic behind what people say. It makes no sense, right? Your fearless leader is the one who rushed it, is the one who sneakily took the vaccine without telling anybody. So, you have to think about that. That's all. That's all logic. Unemotional. Become unemotional about it. Okay. So that's the latest real science and data. And let me just tell you a couple of other things that's starting to come to fruition. So a lot of people are worried about variants. Like, why do I need it? What's the point if I just have to take it again or take another one? Well, you have to take booster shots on certain vaccinations. That's kind of common. Some vaccinations give you lifelong immunity, like chickenpox. Some need little boosters, like tetanus needs a little booster. And that's just the way it is. And you need a seasonal flu shot because there's so many different viruses that cause the flu. I don't take the flu vaccine for that very reason. So for people who sit there and go, you just need to start promoting healthy eating. I'm like, do you know what I do for a living? You need to build up your immune system. Well, I completely agree, except you're not building up your immune system against a novel virus. You can build up your immune system against the influenza, which has, mutates a lot. The chickenpox virus does not mutate. It's very stable. That's why you don't need booster shots. That's why one vaccine will do you great. And then So we might need boosters. You might need to take variants. You might need a little bit of exposure, you know, and the science is just not there yet. So let's say you are one of these healthy people. Like, I don't need to do this because I'm healthy. Okay, well, imagine, because so I'm healthy, right? I'm 48. I don't take any medicines other than an allergy pill. And I tested myself with a rapid test. I have very strong antibodies, so I know I had a react. So I had a response to the Moderna vaccine. So there's a possibility that in the future I, get the sniffles or I feel bad. I test myself. I test positive for SARS, but the vaccine does what it needs to do. I am pretty asymptomatic. I get over it really quickly. And then that might be enough because I have a strong immune system. That might be enough that even if there is another variant, I might not need a dose. These are things that just remain to be seen. Okay. We do know that people catch COVID twice. So I've already had COVID. I don't need a vaccine. Yes, you do, because we know people can catch COVID twice. And we know people that have caught it the second time and survived it the first time and died the second time. We don't really know what's happening with the variants. We think that the current variants we have now, the vaccines seem to be mostly effective, but your efficacy is declining, and the more variants we get, the more dangerous it will get. So we'll need to really drop these numbers faster. And the last thing I'm going to say about the J&J, the J&J is a single dose, but I think they're going to start looking at having a second shot of the J&J. I have people, I have 4 people now who've messaged me and said, they tested themselves after J&J and they don't have any antibodies. And why is that? Wouldn't it be different? Like, no, it's very specific for SARS-CoV-2. So it shouldn't matter which vaccine, you should have it. All right, I got friends coming over. I got to run. I'm running lunch. As always, I'll edit this down, put this up on my YouTube channel. And if you appreciate it, I'll see you tomorrow. Talk to you later. Bye, guys.